Alex, people look at stainless steel and they see a kitchen sink or a fancy skyscraper. I look at it and I see a metal that's got the personality of a stubborn mule with a grudge.
That's a glowing endorsement. Usually, you're trying to sell people on the craft, not warn them off like there's a beware of dog sign on the material rack.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I love the stuff. It's elegant. It doesn't rot. It doesn't rust when the humidity hits 90% and it stays pretty for a lifetime. But it's got this hidden temper. You treat it like mild steel, just swinging in there with a dull bit and a can-do attitude, and it'll turn into a piece of diamond hard glass before you've even made a dent.
Is that the work hardening thing you're always muttering about when you're hunched over the drill press?
Exactly. Stainless is a bit of a diva. If you rub it the wrong way without actually cutting into it, the heat causes the molecular structure to lock up. It basically decides, fine, if you aren't going to cut me, you're never going to cut me. And suddenly that $5 cobalt bit you just bought is about as useful as a butter knife.
So, today we're diving into the bright and shiny world of stainless in the home shop. Because let's face it, most of us want the look, but we don't want the headache.
Let's start with the why. Why bother when mild steel is cheaper and friendlier? It's the permanence. I remember making a set of brackets for an outdoor shower at my cousin's place. I used 304 stainless. 10 years later, the wood is gray, the pipes are leaking, but those brackets, they look like I polished them yesterday.
But for a beginner, stainless is just one word. I've seen 304, 316, 400 series. It feels like trying to read a secret code.
Most of us just need to know the threes. 304 is your bread and butter. It's what your forks are made of. 316 is the marine grade. If you're building something for a boat, or you live so close to the ocean you can taste the salt on your morning coffee, go with 316. It's got molybdenum in it, which is basically a fancy way of saying it fights off corrosion like a heavyweight champ.
Okay, so we've picked our poison. Now how do we actually get it to the size we need? I've seen you go through a bucket of abrasive discs in an afternoon.
Yeah, my wallet still feels that one. Here's the deal with cutting stainless. It's all about heat management. If you take a standard wood cutting saw to it, you'll be looking for a new saw in about 4 seconds. You need tools that can handle the friction. An angle grinder is your best friend, but you have to use inox discs. They're specifically designed for stainless. If you use a disc that's been chewing on regular old carbon steel, you're actually embedding tiny bits of iron into your stainless.
Wait, so you're telling me my stainless project could start rusting because of the tool I used?
You nailed it. It's called cross-contamination. It's like using the same cutting board for raw chicken and your salad. You finish a beautiful project, leave it out overnight, and the next morning it's got these little orange freckles all over it. You'll be standing there wondering where you went wrong, while the metal is basically laughing at you.
Speaking of laughing, I saw you trying to weld that stainless table frame last week. You looked like you were performing surgery on a ladybug.
It's delicate work. Welding stainless is where the ego goes to die. If you're used to MIG welding big, thick plates of structural steel where you can just point and squirt, stainless will humble you real fast. It retains heat differently. It warps like a piece of bacon in a hot frying pan if you aren't careful.
So what's the secret, besides patience and a very steady hand?
You have to stitch it. Don't try to run a 6-inch bead all at once. You jump around. Put a tack here, go to the other side, put a tack there. Keep the heat distributed. And if you're TIG welding, which is the gold standard for stainless, you have to think about the backside of the weld too.
The part you can't see?
Exactly. The oxygen in the air is the enemy. On the front, your shielding gas protects the molten metal. But on the inside of a tube, that metal is getting red hot and soaking up oxygen, creating this nasty, crusty black stuff we call sugar. It looks like burnt toast, and it ruins the integrity of the joint. Professional shops purge the inside with argon gas, but in a home shop, you just have to be clever with your heat and maybe use some solar flux.
It sounds like a lot of specialized gear. If someone is just starting out, do they really need a $5,000 setup?
Absolutely not. You can get into metalworking for less than the cost of a decent mountain bike. My first real shop was a corner of a damp garage with a $100 stick welder and an angle grinder I bought at a yard sale. The most important tool isn't the machine, it's the layout.
You're big on the zones thing lately. Tell me why I can't just have one big messy table for everything.
Because everything is the enemy of finished. If you're grinding sparks near your finishing area, you're speckling your wood projects with metal dust that will turn into black spots the moment you apply a water-based finish. In a metal shop, you need a hot zone. That's your welding and grinding. It needs to be away from the flammable stuff. You don't want to find out your rag bin is combustible because a spark took a scenic tour across the room.
Let's talk safety for a second. Every time I walk in here, I feel like I need a hazmat suit.
It's not about fear, it's about respect. Metal doesn't forgive. Those tiny slivers, we call them needles, that come off a stainless grind, they don't just sit on your skin, they embark on a journey to your bone. You wear the leather apron, you wear the face shield, not just goggles, a full shield, and you never, ever wear synthetic clothes.
Because they melt?
They turn into a second skin of molten plastic if a spark hits them, stick to cotton or leather. I once wore a polyester blend shirt while doing some light grinding. Thought I was being quick. A spark landed right on my chest, and before I could even smell smoke, I had a hole in the shirt and a permanent souvenir on my ribs.
There's that hard-won lesson I was waiting for.
It's a literal brand, Alex.
Okay, so we've cut it, we've welded it, and we haven't set ourselves on fire. How do we make it look like those high-end architectural pieces?
Finishing is the magic trick. Stainless is a chameleon. You can give it a brushed look with a Scotch-Brite wheel, something that hides fingerprints and looks industrial chic. Or, if you're feeling particularly masochistic, you can go for the mirror polish.
Masochistic sounds about right for the amount of sanding involved.
It's a journey. You start with 80 grit to get the scratches out, then 120, 220, 400, 800. By the time you're at 2000 grit, you're basically caressing the metal with a piece of wet silk. Then you hit it with the buffing compound. There's this moment, this tiny window of time, where the cloudiness vanishes and you can suddenly see the ceiling fan reflected in your work. That's the hook. That's why we do this.
It sounds like the ultimate test of good enough versus perfect.
Stainless will tell you exactly where you got lazy. If you skipped a grit in your sanding sequence, the metal will hold on to that secret until you get to the final polish, and then it'll scream it at you. It's an honest material. It demands you pay attention.
So, what's the takeaway for the person sitting in their garage right now, looking at a piece of scrap stainless and wondering if they should try to make something?
Don't be intimidated by the stainless label. It's just metal. It's slower, it's hotter, and it likes to bite back, but the results are forever. Start small. Don't try to build a stainless steel boat on day one. Make a handle, make a bracket, learn how the metal feels when it's cutting well versus when it's fighting you.
And maybe buy more than one drill bit?
Buy 3 and a bottle of cutting fluid. If you see smoke, you're already losing. You want those nice, long silver curls coming off the bit. If you're making dust, you're just making heat.
I think I can handle that. Just no polyester shirts for me.
Smart move. Metalworking is about the long game. It's about building things that will outlast us. There's a quiet satisfaction in knowing that 100 years from now, some kid might find that stainless piece you made and it'll still be just as bright as the day you stepped out of the shop. And next time, we're talking about why your lathe is trying to tell you it hates you.
Can't wait.